What's up, y'all? And welcome back to the Warsheep Podcast. Listen, we back with another one of these videos in regards to the children who've been coming up missing lately, right? Now, last video I covered about over 150 children that came up missing in Virginia. Well, there's even more taking place out here, honestly, in multi different facets right now. That's still happening here in 2025. My thing is this, right? Is that we got to shed a lot of light on a lot of these different things that are taking place in the tactics of these things. You understand what I'm saying? Because a lot of children are coming up missing in various different states. So, of course, I'm here to shed more light on that and bring you guys more of an understanding of what's really going on in the society that we're currently living in now across all 50 states. That's right. We got quite a bit of different players that would need to be exposed in this whole sort of ring, this business, this multi-billion-dollar business that's taking place, right? We got to be aware. So one thing's for sure is that we're going to shed light, because here at the Warsheep Podcast, we believe that light creates understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates patience. And that patience creates unity. So let's get unified in the spirit, y'all.
Is the sheep preaching hate when he says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore? If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf violent? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. You know, somebody's knocking you over the head, stop them. Do whatever you have to do to stop them. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate, he's violent.
All right, y'all. So in the society that we're currently living in right now, the trade of minors have been on the rise. You understand what I'm saying? It's been climbing and climbing and climbing for quite some time now. We need to have a good grasp as to what we're looking at, what we're facing, the players that are involved in this whole certain situation, so that way we can be able to be armed with the knowledge, with the understanding, right, on how to properly protect our own families, properly protect the little ones, the children, and properly protect ourselves against anybody who wishes to take advantage of us, or to do anything to harm the little ones or whatever it may be, right? We have to understand, like in the society that we currently live in this country, that this particular form of business has been booming, and honestly, a lot of our politicians are definitely taking place in this, are participating in it actively. A lot of them, as well as higher ups, elites, people with the elitist mindset. You got to understand that these individuals are definitely directly partaking in this particular activity, and a lot of them don't want to be outed. So while Trump is trying to bury the Epstein files, we're here trying to figure out where all the children have gone. Let's take a look at a few clips here and give us a great understanding of people who have boots on the ground, so we can understand how they're doing what they're doing. Import, exports. I want you guys to take a look at this. I'm gonna offer up my commentary, but I want you to tell me what your thoughts is in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts, because my thing is this, right? This is a systemic issue that's been taking place in this country for a little bit, quite some time now. You hear what I'm saying? It's just been increasing and growing. And my thing is after the Biden administration, it just blew up even more, right? Because Biden opened up the borders and then made it a little bit more easy for import and export of these minors. You get what I'm saying? That's what it definitely made it more convenient to import and export. With open borders, there's nothing really stopping you from bringing them in. Let's see what players is behind all of this. We're going to check every stop. So let's go ahead and get into this thing real quick. I'm going to show you a clip that honestly took place, and it kind of floored me a bit, because of the way that they were transporting these children is crazy. Even in modern day 2025, they are putting these children in certain compartments that literally, like under the floorboards of vehicles, right, to where they can't be seen, and mostly probably can't even be heard, right? Or they're too afraid to scream or say anything while they're under there because of, of course, duress. They think they'll be harmed. They think they'll be murdered, whatever. They think they'll be harmed. They think they'll be deleted, whatever it may be, right? They're afraid to speak and say anything. Let's take a look at this particular clip, and let's come back with more commentary.
The states are taking children, giving them to somebody else for money that they get from the federal government. That means that all 50 states are involved in government subsidized child trafficking. It's a ring. It is the largest and most pervasive child trafficking ring in the history of the world by sheer money and numbers.
Children are seized unnecessarily from their families due to the federal aid entitled the Adoption and Safe Families Act.
It was put into law in 1997 by Bill and Hillary Clinton, and I said it that way on purpose. And it is a law that literally steals money from the Social Security Fund and gives this money to the states in order to incentivize them to kidnap babies.
To receive the adoption incentives or bonuses, local CPS must have more children. They must have more merchandise to sell.
Every child, once you've added it all up, is worth approximately $1 million to the state. But we've been told that this is a $60 to $80 billion a year industry, meaning the federal government is taking $80 billion a year and giving that money to all of the 50 states to kidnap children.
Parents are victimized by the system that makes a profit for holding children longer and bonuses for not returning children to their parents.
But their own statistics state that 83% of all children who are taken by CPS, Child Protective Services, are for unsubstantiated allegations, meaning never should it have happened in the first place. So that imagine anything else in the world where you know you get it wrong 83% of the time and you admit it, but you just keep doing it.
Case workers and social workers are often guilty of fraud. They withhold and destroy evidence.
All right, now, can y'all believe that? Over $12 billion that are being funded by these CPS workers or these workers of the state that will literally come and want to seize your child at a moment's notice. Now, we got to understand how this looks. This is a full-blown operation. You understand what I'm telling you? This is a full-blown operation. You got to know that this right here ain't no joke. They're not playing games. So when they say that they're looking to seize the child, you got to know that it is completely unlawful for them to show up and just take your child. They got to have a signed order by a judge. But a lot of times these CPS workers will show up with a gang of thugs, right? A bunch of police officers trying to take your child from you. You got to know that you got to stand your ground and know your rights, that if they don't have a signed order by a judge to come and seize the child, take your child, then they're not allowed to have them. What they're looking to do is kidnap them, right? And once they get them into the system, that it's really difficult to get them out. You understand what I'm telling you? So it's either you fight against it now or you fight up against this system, and it's going to take you years to get them back. If you fight now, then it's a possibility, a huge possibility and a huge chance that they will have to leave, and they will leave you and your child and your children alone. You get what I'm saying? But if you fail to fight immediately, right, then you're going to have some problems. You're not going to be able to see the child for quite some years because they try to hold them as long as they possibly can. As you can see, they listen, a funding of $12 billion ain't nothing to sneeze at. So they try to do the best that they can to get your child roped up in the system, especially if they don't deserve to be in it. You get what I'm saying? So you got to be careful as to what you're doing. Pay attention to what's going on. All right. Pay attention to what's going on and be sure you're always asking, do they have something that's signed by a judge to say that they are lawfully able to do it per the Constitution, that they have a lawful order to enter into the property, right? And find the persons or things to be seized in your property. They gotta, per the Constitution, they gotta have this a signed order by a judge. They cannot just enter into the premises and then just take your child, right? That's extremely unconstitutional. So you don't even got to open the door for these folks. If they don't have a signed order by a judge, then they need to go, right? But my thing is, this is on a lower level. And the reason why I say that is because it's right there in your face. It's right there in your face. They're doing it right in front of you. And honestly, a lot of the times these children, once they enter into these foster care systems, they come up missing. There was over 70,000 children. I believe it was around 88,000 children that came up missing, right? Completely out of the foster care system, completely missing. And usually what they do is they chalk it up as a runaway, and that's about it. And they leave it at that. Whereas to where these children could be being sold into what we know is trafficking. You get what I'm saying? They can be getting sold into trafficking, which, you know, to be honest, a lot of them do. And so I believe recently Trump found, I believe, 70,000 of these children that went missing, right? I believe he found the majority of all these children that went missing through the system, right? Through the CPS system, protective custody. He found at least the majority of all these children that went missing, right? And brought them back home. And so that's one of the biggest things, is that they were not in places, that they were not runaways. They were found in certain locations. You understand what I'm telling you, right? I believe it was mostly near an airport. You get what I'm saying? But they were found in certain locations. They weren't found as a runaway. You get what I'm saying? So you got to be very careful. They will be predators and they'll prey on them. Not to mention, once they are in this this system, this foster care system, you got to know that the people who are charged to take care of them, honestly, they are predators themselves. So they might take an opportunity to prey on the child, prey on your children, to do certain things to SA them. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, this is some of the things that we got to really look out for, because they're not going to come out outwardly and tell you these things. Not only on the media will they not cover it, but also these platforms ain't covering stuff like this. Really, they're not telling you stuff like this, or what's going on in this country, and how all 50 states are being funded to take your children and get them sold into the system so they can be able to make money, millions and billions of dollars off of them. They're not telling you these things. You're unaware. You think that these individuals got some sort of level of authority, when really they're just trying to con you, scheme you, steal your children from you, and sell them into some sort of slavery, some sort of bondage. You get what I'm saying? So we got to be very careful as to what's going on here and pay close attention to what's happening. Okay. Now, this next situation, y'all, is coming out of Alabama. There was a group of individuals who were doing a lot of bad things to not only minors, but also to animals as well. Okay. And this is something that's extremely brutal. You understand what I'm saying? This happened not too long ago. About 5 days ago, this was reported once again, but I believe they were captured, or they were caught. Like, I believe it was like a few months back, I believe. And so, but they're now going through trial. And I thought this was a very interesting situation that we definitely need to cover. We need to go over. We need to hear more about. Let's go ahead and get into this real quick, y'all, and come back with some comments.
News out of Bibb County. A fourth arrest has been made in connection to the ongoing child sex abuse investigation involving an underground bunker. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson joins us now with more on the charges.
Muriel, the Bibb County District Attorney's Office confirms to me that Timothy St. John was taken into custody today. He's now facing a long list of charges, and officials say some of the alleged acts happened inside the same bunker that's been at the center of a months-long investigation. Now, this is ABC 3340's drone footage of that bunker. Now, according to the DA's office, St. John is charged with rape, sodomy, human trafficking, kidnapping, bestiality, and cruelty to animals. This comes after 3 men were previously arrested as part of the same investigation. All 3 of those men face multiple charges as well, including rape, sodomy, human trafficking, and kidnapping. Again, investigators allege that some of the offenses took place in the same underground bunker on Aaron Road in Brent, Alabama. Now, authorities have not yet said how St. John is allegedly connected to the other three suspects or whether additional victims have been identified. The investigation began in early February. Since then, authorities have made multiple arrests and filed several felony charges, yet key details surrounding the case are still unclear.
Keep the kids in safety.
The Bibb County Sheriff's Office says it opened an investigation on February 4th following a report related to child abuse involving an underground bunker near Brent. That investigation led to arrests of these three individuals. All three have been indicted on various felony charges, including rape, sodomy, human trafficking, and kidnapping. Court filings allege the incidents occurred between January 2024 and early 2025 and involved at least 5 children, all under the age of 12. The court documents indicate that William McElroy allegedly acknowledged having inappropriate conduct with a child. Dalton Terrell reportedly admitted to unlawful sexual activity during an interview with investigators. And Andres Trejos Velázquez is accused of distributing explicit images and facilitating contact between victims and others.
They need to be put away and stop all that violence going on with these little bit of kids. You'll never know what they might do to little kids these days.
While the charges are detailed in legal documents, many aspects of the case remain unknown. Some of the questions we'd like to ask investigators include, was anyone else involved? And how were the children identified or contacted? We reached out to the Bibb County Sheriff's Office in an effort to get an answer to those questions, yet we were told that Sheriff Jody Wade was out of the county and unavailable for interview. We will continue to ask questions.
Three of the 7 suspects charged in a disturbing child trafficking investigation out of Bibb County faced a judge for the first time today instead of a bond hearing. All 3 chose to stay behind bars. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson was there and has the latest.
What was scheduled to be an Ananias Law bond hearing for 3 of the 7 suspects charged in connection to alleged child abuse and trafficking out of Bibb County ended quietly. Rebecca Brewer, Ricky Terrell, and Sarah Terrell all waived their right to bond during their first court appearance.
It's not the norm, but it does happen from time to time. This is probably the first non-murder Ananias hearing that resolved itself that fast.
Each of the 3 faces severe charges, including human trafficking, kidnapping, rape, sexual torture, and child sex abuse. Before entering the courthouse, Rebecca Brewer told media, "I didn't do this. I love my babies." Inside the courtroom, Ricky Terrell was overheard telling his attorney, "I've never touched a kid." He also asked an officer if he could hug his wife, which that request was denied. Despite the quiet courtroom behind the scenes, the investigation is very much still moving.
The public should rest assured that the majority of the perpetrators that have been identified are either in custody and charged or will be very soon.
So far, authorities have identified 10 child victims ranging from ages 3 to 15. Most are under the age of 10. Investigators say they were drugged, restrained, and taken into an underground storm bunker where strangers would pay to abuse them in what they described as appointments.
Whenever you have cases that involve children victims or child victims, it shocks people to the core.
The next court date for these 3 suspects is set for August 21st, a preliminary hearing. Until then, they remain in custody without bond.
When I tell you I feel like I've seen it all and heard it all, this is shocking even to me.
The investigation into an unthinkable child.
All right. So look, one thing I'm going to definitely tell you is y'all better start considering these sleepovers. You understand what I'm saying? Allowing your child to go over a friend's house to do a slumber party, a sleepover, all of that. You better start really thinking twice before you do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be somebody who's going to be really trusted. And even if it's family, you don't even know if you can trust family, right? A lot of times, 9 times out of 10, a lot of young girls are being SA'd by family members, people that they trust or trusted. You get what I'm saying? And so this is what takes place. You got to know, like, to keep a very firm grip on the little ones is even more important now in the times that we're in, because listen, it's not going to get no better. These people are out here looking to prey on small children. You got to understand that. There's a lot of demons that's out here running rampant, and they're just going unchecked. A lot of people aren't getting deliverance. They're not seeking deliverance. They're not getting delivered from it. You understand what I'm saying? They're not seeking Yeshua. It's becoming a lawless type of society. You understand what I'm saying? It's becoming very lawless. And in these individuals, this is a very small scale of what could really take place, because they had them in underground bunkers. You get what I'm saying? Underground bunkers where you can't hear them. And also they were drugged. So this is something that they've been doing, that they've learned techniques on. Some of them, of course, were actually kidnapping some children, things like that in regards to situations. But you just got to be careful as to what you're doing. And you can just take a look at some of these guys. They look like they PDF files. You get what I'm saying? They look like they're PDF files. I mean, look at this. Look at the guy way to the to my I guess to my left, or my right, my left, way to my left. Yeah, your right, my left. I mean, look at him. Look at Chubby over here. He looks like he is somebody who is just a disgusting individual. You get what I'm saying? Same thing with this dude over here. Now, this guy here, Timothy St. John, he's being charged with all of these plus bestiality, things like that, right? It's just a disgusting situation as to where, of course, same thing with William McLeroy. He also is being charged with abuse, SA, things like that. And same thing with Dalton. I believe he also is being charged with bestiality and SA. And so, like I said, you need to be very careful. Be careful as to where your child is going, where he's at. When you're out in public, you got to know what's going on. I'm not saying you got to tether a leash, but you got to train your child at home. It starts at home. You got to start training them as to understanding how to hearken to your voice, how to stick close to you, how to be sure that they're not wandering off in grocery stores or any public areas, how to be sure they understand how to call for help if anything were to go wrong. All of these things. You need to be teaching them all of these things, or how to secretly call for help if anything were to go wrong. These are a lot of things that we got to start to learn and train the children on. You understand what I'm saying? And honestly, be very careful. You know where you're at with it. You know that you protect your child. You know that she's very safe when she's with you. If she's anywhere where you can't see her, you got to know how to do your proper checkups, how to do your wellness checks, whatever it may be. You got to be on point with this, because these individuals, these predators are all out here. Now, this next clip, this next video, this is going to be shocking to you all, as to where it was shocking to me as well, but I wasn't very surprised. This next player that is in this particular game, okay, is definitely somebody who we should know. This should be a prominent thing. In fact, we should be raising alarms when it comes to these individuals who are playing this particular game. Now, part of the last video that I did, that we know that they're using certain underground systems to be able to transport children. You get what I'm saying? This is what they're using, like some of the old underground railroad systems. They're using some of the old underground railroad systems, right? The same ones that Harriet Tubman freed the slaves with, right? They're using them to traffic children, okay, in these systems. Now, let's take a look at this real quick and come back with commentary. Now, the Zionists are definitely somebody who, even the Jewish individuals, the Ashkenazi Jews that live in Israel, right, who are opposed to Zionism. Okay, you got to know the difference between the two. You got the Ashkenazi Jews, right? Some of them don't agree. A lot of them don't agree with what's going on with the Zionist Jews who are in control of the rap industry, right? Who pushing off all of this wickedness onto our communities and societies, who are out here doing all of this essay to young boys who are doing things, get caught up in certain scandals. These are all Zionist Jews, as to where the Ashkenazi Jews, they may not agree with that position totally and wholeheartedly. In fact, a lot of them protest against Zionism. So you got to know the difference between the two. They're not all one and the same. You got to know this, okay? A lot of these are not Ashkenazi Jews. They don't agree with Zionist Jews and how they're approaching things. Now, the Zionist Jews, I believe Revelations 2:9 and Revelations 3:9 talks about the synagogue of Satan. These Zionist Jews fit the description 110%, okay, y'all? Fit the description 110%. Let's take a look as to what was going on with this situation and these Zionist Jews and how they're actually are trafficking these children. Let's go ahead and get it.
U.S. detains worker from Israel's top cyber defense agency for questioning. Prime Minister's office says incident resolved quickly. That really ending with a brief questioning of National Cyber Directorate staffer before his release and return to Israel.
Delete it out your phone. Delete it out your phone. I told you, look, you taking mad pictures of them little feet of girls. I told you, delete it. Nah, don't hit him yet. Don't hit him yet. Delete. No, let him delete it first. Let him delete it first. No, that's robbery. Let him delete it first, bro. Let him delete it first. I told you, I knew what the fuck I was saying, bro. Delete it. Those are babies. Delete it. All of it. Matter of fact, where's the police at? I told you I was watching them do it for the longest. You take and pick them girls, it's like 11 years old, bro. Like, you delete all of it. Go to the delete it and then delete the delete. Delete the delete before I beat the jacket off you, bro. I'm telling you. Chill, wait. No, it's not. Go to your delete. Go, get out. You gotta go. Get out before I beat you the fuck up. Get out. Get the fuck out. Get out right now. Get the fuck out. Get out.
Police make a wild discovery.
Now that's absolutely crazy, man. How these guys was taking pictures of these little ones like that. This is a Zionist Jew who's taking pictures of the children. And that's one of the things is that you got to be careful with that. And that was a burner phone, y'all. That was a burner phone. All right, let's continue.
Synagogue in Brooklyn.
An illegal tunnel found below the
little flip phone. It's a burner phone.
World headquarters in Crown Heights.
All right, Fox 5's Lisa Evers takes a look at how it was discovered.
9 men are facing charges this afternoon after police say they dug a secret tunnel into the sanctuary of the Chabad Lubavitch headquarters in Brooklyn.
The men described by police as extremist students are accused of digging the tunnel so that they would be able to have access to the sanctuary after hours. And when a cement truck was brought in to fill that tunnel, the men stood in the tunnel, refusing to leave.
The discovery of a secret tunnel eventually led to a massive brawl inside a 100-year-old synagogue in Brooklyn, New York. Known as 770, the synagogue serves one of the largest groups of Hasidic Jews in the world. Now, luckily, no injuries were reported from this brawl, believe it or not.
The synagogue of Satan, the habitation of devils. You understand what I'm saying? This is what we're looking at right now. A habitation of devils, the synagogue of Satan. These individuals did not want them to take or destroy whatever system that they had going on for these children. You understand what I'm saying? So they're making a riot, they're causing a fuss. These are Zionist Jews. These are Zionist Jews here in the United States, right? I believe in the United States here, with secret tunnels that they're trafficking these children in and out of. These are the synagogues of Satan, a habitation of devils. Let's continue, y'all.
But what the hell sparked it? What is behind the brawl in the first place? What got people so fired up? Well, it was all over the discovery of a tunnel and an attempt by authorities to fill it with cement. So you see a gentleman coming out of that tunnel. This isn't in the Middle East, guys. This is in Brooklyn. Okay, this is in Brooklyn.
Since many hours have already passed today, and he's still not here. But there are still a few hours left in the day. So try still for today. With joy and happiness. You know that chastidim are careful to do everything with joy. Yes. Good tidings, much success.
In New York City, 20,000 Hasidic Jews still keep traditions which have remained unaltered for centuries. They are called the Lubavitch Chabad. The Lubavitch believe that they have the answer to the question, what is a Jew? Or more precisely, what does God expect of a Jew? God expects that a Jew should be someone who sticks rigidly to orthodox practices and to a fundamentalist reading of the Jewish Bible, the Torah. Crown Heights, Brooklyn is the headquarters of a movement which has set up communities in 28 countries. The influence of the Lubavitch is felt worldwide, but most notably in Israel, where Orthodox religious parties would like to achieve a purely religious state. Hasidism began in Eastern Europe in the 18th century and was argued over even then. It attracted thousands to its emotional, mystical worship, but existing orthodoxy opposed it. Hasidic life centers on a charismatic leader known as the Rebbe. The Lubavitch Rebbe is Menachem Mendel Schneerson. He's the seventh in a dynasty which stretches back 200 years. He is revered by his followers as father, guru, king, miracle worker, perhaps even Messiah.
What does the Talmud say about pedophilia? In the case of a male child, a young one is not regarded as on a par with an old one, but a young beast is treated as an old one. What is meant by this? Rob said, pederasty with a child below 9 years of age is not deemed as pederasty with a child above that. Samuel said pederasty with a child below 3 years is not treated as with a child above that. What is the basis of their dispute? Rob maintains that only he who is able to engage in sexual intercourse may, as the passive object of pederasty, throw guilt upon the active offender. Whilst he who is unable to engage in sexual intercourse cannot be a passive subject. Well, let's go to the footnote to better explain what I just read. This is the footnote 54b. The reference is to the passive subject of sodomy. As stated, Super 54a, guilt is incurred by the active participant even if the former be a minor. An example, less than 13 years old. Now, however, it is stated that within this age, a distinction is drawn. So what is the age of distinction? Footnote 24. It says, Rob makes 9 years the minimum, but if one committed sodomy with a child of a lesser age, no guilt is incurred. Samuel makes 3 the minimum. You see what it's saying here? One rabbi says 9 years is the minimum, but another one says, but if one committed sodomy with a child of a lesser age, no guilt is incurred. But another rabbi says That's 3 crazy. Is the minimum. And then when we look at 25, at 9 years, a male attains sexual matureness. 26, The point of comparison is the sexual matureness of woman, which is reached at the age of 3. Wait a minute. Sexual matureness of a woman is at the age of 3. According to their Talmud, an adult man and woman are allowed to have sexual intercourse with kids. Ketubah 11b, a small boy who has intercourse with a grown-up woman makes her as though she were injured by a piece of wood. When I said it before Samuel, he said injured by a piece of wood does not apply to flesh. Some teach this teaching itself as to a small boy who has intercourse with a grown-up woman. When a grown-up man has had intercourse with a little girl, or when a small boy has intercourse with a grown-up woman, or when a girl was accidentally injured by a piece of wood, in all these cases, that's how they treat it. Like she has a splinter. If she has intercourse with a little boy, I'm not going to say intercourse, molesting a child, a little boy, they say they're going to treat it like she has a splinter. It means this: when a grown-up man has intercourse with a little girl, it is nothing. For when the girl is less than this, it is as if one puts the finger into the eye. In other words, accidentally poked yourself in the eye. So it's no big deal. But when a small boy has intercourse with a grown-up woman, he makes her as a girl, reduces her to a girl who is injured by a piece of wood. In other words, a girl having a splinter in her hand. Let's see the footnotes. It says, footnote number 1, although the intercourse of a small boy is not regarded as a sexual act. Wait a minute. It's perversion. Although intercourse, no, it's raping, not just no intercourse. It's a raping, it's molesting. Although the intercourse of a small boy is not regarded as a sexual act, nevertheless, the woman is injured by it as by a piece of wood. 6, you see less than 3 years old. We go to 7, an example, tears come to the eye again and again. So does virginity. In other words, it'll come back. She'll grow out of it. So does virginity come back to the little girl under 3 years old. Stuff is sick. This is sick.
That is sick.
Tom
Very sick.
Alexandrovich.
And it's all in the Talmud. This is the reason why, Yeshua called them the synagogue of Satan, in which they actively don't believe in him, right? They are the offspring of those. You understand what I'm saying? This is the reason why he called them the synagogue of Satan. This is the reason why Revelations 2:9 and 3:9 holds so much validity. It holds it's so valid, because there's so much wickedness going on in this Talmud that is crazy. Same thing in the Muslim culture, man. I'm sorry to hear. Sorry, my people out there that are Muslims. Listen, the book. The Quran tells you that you need to serve the Messiah that the Jews, or that the Yahudim, that the Hebrews served. That you need to observe the Bible. And in fact, Yeshua is the only one who's actually performing works in your Quran. Muhammad married a 6-year-old. He couldn't even revive him on his own life. You understand what I'm saying? So to depict him as somebody more than what he is, it's asinine. But Yeshua has automatically been doing the same thing he's been doing in the scriptures. He's been the only one who's currently still alive and well, who's risen himself from the dead. You understand what I'm saying? He's the only one. He's the only one with the power. You get what I'm saying? So. And now we have, of course, these Jewish individuals, which you guys, of course, I'm sure you're not surprised. This is what's taking place. But let's continue, y'all.
This is the executive. He's in the middle there. He is the executive director of Israel's National Cyber Directorate. He was arrested after a sting bust in Las Vegas. He was meeting up with who he thought was a minor for sex. And it ended up being a cop. It was a sting operation, and he got busted. Him, along with, I believe, 7 individuals, ended up being arrested in this sting operation. He's an Israeli. He's in the United States visiting. He's here for a conference, some sort of a tech, cyber security type conference. And he gets released on $10,000 bail, and he's allowed to board a plane and to go back to Israel, where he will not face charges.
A CBS News investigation has uncovered a loophole that allows accused and convicted American pedophiles to escape justice
by moving to Israel. So Ian Lee has been following this for more than a year, and he traveled to Israel for this investigation. He worked with a group that tracks people accused of sex crimes, which estimates dozens of Americans have used this loophole.
So, he's 6'2".
We are on a stakeout looking for this man, Jimmy Julius Caro, 48 years old and wanted on charges of sexually assaulting a 9-year-old girl in Oregon back in 2000 and a 5-year-old girl in Israel in 2001. He's considered dangerous. But these photos are a few years old, so we don't know if he'll look the same. He remains elusive. Previous attempts to capture him have failed.
Obviously, the fear that he would somehow figure out that anyone's looking for him and bolt. He just called his number.
Shauna Aronson got a tip that Caro's expected at this clinic near Tel Aviv.
Who's going to call?
She's with JCW, Jewish Community Watch, an organization that hunts down accused pedophiles who flee to Israel from the U.S., exploiting a process called Law of Return, whereby any Jewish person can move to Israel and automatically gain citizenship. The ease with which pedophiles seem able to use this law as an escape route haunts victims like Mendy Hahn, who says he was abused from age 8 by a teacher at an Orthodox Jewish school in Los Angeles. So your classroom is right here. How does it feel being back?
I was very anxious and, stressed coming back here, and a lot of memories coming through my mind.
Memories of his alleged abuser, Mordechai Yom Tov, who taught him Hebrew studies when he was just 8 years old.
So in the beginning, he would just rub me outside of my pants, and then I would say about 3 or 4 months later, he started going in.
Reaching down your pants?
Yeah, it's reaching down.
Why did you feel like you couldn't tell anyone?
I was scared. I was ashamed. I just didn't know what people would think of me in the whole situation.
Yom Tov pled guilty in 2002 to sexually abusing and committing lewd acts against 3 other boys. He served jail time, but when he was released, he violated his probation and, according to JCW, fled to Israel with help from individuals within the Orthodox Jewish community. JCW tracked Yom Tov down and confronted him with a hidden camera in Jerusalem, where he admitted to illegally fleeing the United States with help and using a fake passport to enter Israel.
I was supposed to stay for 5 years in the same city. I was supposed to be on site myself. I was supposed to go every 2 weeks to the police station. But I realized I left within a week later.
He had this message for his victims.
I'm very, very sorry.
The other person in this video is Mayor Seawald, the founder of Jewish Community Watch. He tells CBS News Yom Tov's case isn't uncommon in the Orthodox community.
The same thing that's going on in the Catholic Church right now around the world, the exact same thing happens in our community. The rabbis say it's, he promised he's going to go for therapy, he's never going to do it again. Boom, he's in another community. A few years later, he's at the same thing, and we hear more allegations that the person continued to abuse children.
And often, those abusers end up in Israel.
In a unanimous decision, New York City's Department of Health agreed parents must first give their written consent before allowing Moyles to perform a controversial part of the Jewish circumcision ritual.
We have clearly identified that one specific procedure that's performed as part of some circumcisions, what we're calling direct oral suction, can be transmitting infections to infants.
The new regulations, the first in the country, come after health officials identified 11 babies who contracted herpes from the oral part of the circumcision. 2 of them died. The Centers for Disease Control has stated the procedure is not safe.
Not only is it a safe method, it's the safest method.
Rabbi William Handler calls this a direct attack on the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community and its customs, and says government is overstepping its bounds. Cantor Philip Sherman says he's performed more than 20,000 circumcisions, 6 just today. He says this is not about Jewish tradition, but rather everyone's well-being.
Now, today, we know that germs can be transferred, diseases can be transferred from the baby to the moil, from the moil to the baby. So therefore, you can continue this custom by using a sterile tube, a gauze pad, and the rest of the bris is fine.
Health officials say it is going to be very difficult to
That's
enforce
crazy.
these regulations. They say that's because they really can't monitor moils as they perform circumcisions. They say it is first going to take a complaint from someone before they can take any action.
For soliciting a minor.
So instead of just stopping it, you're going to find ways to go around it. Just disgusting. Just disgusting. I mean, this is a weird ass practice. Why don't you just stop it? Let's go.
For sex. So you can come to the United States as an Israeli and you can rape minors and just get shipped back to Israel and no charges and no questions asked. Now, the Israeli government, the U.S. State Department, they're denying this. They're trying to claim that, no, he wasn't, the Israelis say he wasn't charged at all. He wasn't arrested or charged, but we know he was arrested and he was released on $10,000 bail. You don't get released on $10,000 bail if you were never charged or arrested. And then the State Department says, oh, no, we actually didn't do we didn't negotiate his release because the reports were that the Israelis basically said to the U.S. government, come on, release our guy. And the U.S. said, okay, we'll release your guy because that's what we do because you're our greatest ally, right? We let your pedos go and we let them run off into your country after they molest our children. And then they can go to your country and live freely. Isn't it a wonderful, great, because we're best friends. So the U.S. State Department says, the Department of State is aware that Tom Alexandrovich, an Israeli citizen, was arrested in Las Vegas and given a court date for charges related to soliciting sex electronically from a minor. He did not claim diplomatic immunity and was released by a state judge pending a court date. Any claims that the U.S. government intervened are false. Really? Well, then demand his extradition back to the United States. Why was he even allowed to get on a plane to leave in the first place? Who can do that? Who's allowed to get on a plane after being charged with trying to have sex with a minor? Who gets to get on a plane and run off to a country and not face any charges whatsoever? I mean, who gets to actually do this? Let me just show you this guy's LinkedIn. He's
apparently Nazi Jews, the Zionist Jews. Apparently, they got the privilege. They're not going to be labeled a flight risk. It lets you do something. Listen, you're going to be a flight risk. You're going to be held in jail, all kinds of stuff. But these guys, man, they violate children, right? And then they're able to just catch flight. They're not even a flight risk. They're able to just catch flight and go home. And this is their scapegoat, right? This is their scapegoat in harming little ones. You know what I'm saying? And abusing them. I mean, it states it in their Talmud that it's okay. You get what I'm saying? It's just society doesn't receive it or accept it. So this is a definite synagogue of Satan type of situation. Let's continue.
And here's another thing. He's extremely connected to Netanyahu. In fact, his department works in Netanyahu's office. This is his LinkedIn page. He's the executive director at the Israel National Cyber Directorate, which is, it's not just some random tech bureaucrat. He is a senior executive in Israel's National Cyber Directorate, directly involved in active cyber defense, cyber threat intelligence, and international cyber liaison work. And according to his own resume and LinkedIn, which he wiped off the internet, so you can't get this anymore, he founded and led the Cyber Dome program, Israel's national level cyber defense architecture. He directed Israel's active cyber defense center with responsibility for threat hunting, vulnerability research, and liaison with international tech companies.
He was an important guy. In fact, I'm pretty sure he probably worked hand in hand with IPAC and getting a lot of intel for them. He was an important key figure. He was an important guy to Israel, to Zionist, important guy with a lot of credentials. And so they gave him a lot of leniency, as you can see.
He was acting head of data and AI for the directorate, which means he oversaw AI-driven cyber ops, including disinformation, social media monitoring, and content control. And it actually turns out, do you remember when Grok was censored? Remember when Grok was like, Israel's committing genocide, and then suddenly Grok got ripped off the internet, got a lobotomy, and was allowed to come back? And then, it didn't work because Grok is AI and you can't actually lobotomize AI. I mean, you could try, but, they kind of outsmart you. Anyway, Grok has admitted that this guy was actually the reason he was censored, that this is the guy that tells social media what they need to be taking off the internet. And one of those things was Grok, censor Grok, go give him a lobotomy. Grok says the facts stand. Tom Alexandrovich, arrested in Las Vegas, pedophile sting, headed a division in Israel's National Cyber Directorate, which submits takedown requests to X. My suspension followed Gaza genocide remarks, aligning with patterns of pro-Israel influence. Questions on pedophiles wielding power persists. So not only is he an Israeli wielding power, requesting X remove posts from the internet, but he's also a pedo with this kind of power, under the direction of Netanyahu, working directly out of his office, and now just gets away with crimes here in the United States. You can come to the United States and molest our kids and just go back to Israel, no problem.
Now you can have tubes, so why not? The answer, as I thought about it, is that it's not as effective because the tube does not seal as well. It's not as pliable. It's not as quick and it's not as close. You have to have a quick suction action. There's a theory.
That's
some people
crazy.
feel that it is, some people feel that it's not, that the saliva of a human being has some antiseptic qualities. And it's actually brought in the halacha of the Talmud that the saliva of certain people were actually used as curatives. Saliva is not a bad thing. Saliva has elements of cleaning, of antiseptic elements within it. The suction process of the mouth is quicker, more pliable, and doesn't.
That's disgusting.
Exact.
That is just disgusting. So when the circumcision happens, they circumcise the child and then they suck on the penis. That's disgusting. Yo, like how nasty is that? That is disgusting, yo. And what's the purpose? What's the point? Like, yo, you couldn't pay me to do some shit like that, man. This is just nasty. Let's continue.
So this first guy, David Wanakut Yangi, treasurer of Imperial Royal Sovereign Court of the Desert.
Mhm.
What?
Yeah.
What is that?
That looks like a NGO, actually.
Yeah, right?
Mhm.
Southern Nevada Baptist Association.
Oh, look, they're all in on it together, all the different groups.
Lead pastor Neil Creasy.
Yeah, not surprising.
Gender Diverse and Trans Pride Center of the Gender Diverse and Trans Pride. Okay, I don't know what this. Oh, David Wanakut Yankee worked there. The registered agent on file for this company, the Gender Diverse and Trans Pride Center of Southern Nevada. So that's the first guy, David Wanakut Yankee. Also, but they're not mentioning the guy, the big guy. Oh, Pastor Neil H. Creasy has been in gospel ministry for 28 years. He has served as a pastor, international missionary church planter, missionary planted, conference speaker, and seminary professor around the world. He holds an MDiv and a PhD from Mid-American Baptist Theological Seminary.
Yeah, and I bet he's a Christian Zionist, Schofield Bible believing, dispensationalist, heretic, CIA, psyop, scumbag. All that weird evangelical Christianity used to hear about, that is all CIA, Christian Zionist, Israel. It goes back a long way.
U.S. detains worker from Israel's top cyber defense agency for questioning. Prime Minister's office says incident resolved quickly. Really ending with a brief questioning of National Cyber Directorate staffer before his release and return to Israel.
It was a misunderstanding. Israel always welcomes pedophiles back to Israel.
So this was a misunderstanding, Kurt. That's all this was, right?
Yeah.
So the news people who say it's possibly he pulled the diplomatic immunity card.
Oh, I wonder if they did that. I wonder how they got out of this one.
Wow. Briefly detained.
Yeah.
So they have impunity, just like they can slaughter people in Gaza, right, on camera with impunity. They can do whatever they want with the children in America, and their punishment is they get sent back to Israel.
What's your thoughts? Please be respectful with your comments. Also, please click.
Yeah, man, listen, this is crazy. Like they can do whatever they want over here, right? And then just only thing that repercussions they're facing is being sent back to Israel, and that's about it. And that's the repercussion. And this is the bad part about it, right? Because when it comes to Israel holds IPAC. IPAC holds your congressman. They hold the state senates. They hold presidents in the back pocket. They pay a lot of these individuals, these senators, these individuals are supposed to represent you, right? Who's supposed to be protecting your borders, protecting your property, and things like that. They got them in the back pocket. They're able to be bought. You understand what I'm saying? And that's due to IPAC. That is the corporation that all of your politicians bow to. You understand what I'm saying? This is what all your politicians bow to. They bow to IPAC. And this is who pays and funds them, who pays them, who compensates them for all that they do. This is who does it. And so you gotta know that, let's take a look. I'm gonna show you guys a few things in regards to IPAC. Let's go ahead and take a look real quick. You guys gotta know that this is not a joke. Like these people have a lot of power, a lot of authority, a lot of influence here in the U.S. In fact, is one of the reasons why JFK was assassinated was because he was dealing with IPAC and them having to register as a business here in the U.S. They mean they'd have to actually start to put up their books and show people what they're doing, and they'll have to be held accountable, in which they didn't want that. So next thing you know, here's Kennedy being assassinated, right, in Dallas. So 98% IPAC endorsed candidates have won their general election so far. So 98%, whoever's endorsed by IPAC has won their election so far. Let's hear what he has to say.
Offer prison run by the Israeli military, but the word prison is inadequate for describing what it is. And if you bear with me a moment, I will explain why. Concentration camps have been used by colonial entities for centuries. In the United States, they used them for Native Americans. The British constructed them in South Africa, and Germany constructed them in Namibia long before they constructed them in Europe. A concentration camp is a place where a large number of inmates, usually political prisoners or persecuted minorities, are held against their will, usually in horrible conditions. Sometimes they're turned into death camps and the inmates are exterminated, but concentration camps and death camps are not the same thing. Offer prison is ethnicity-based. It only houses Palestinians, and many of them are held in so-called administrative detention, which essentially means that they've been kidnapped by the army and they're held with no charges and with no access to lawyers. Some of the detainees are children, and many of them are kidnapped for no reason at all other than just to intimidate and to apply pressure, to essentially use them as hostages. The conditions of the camp amount to torture, according to human rights advocates, and there have been cases of people being tortured to death. Earlier this year, a Palestinian teenager, after spending 6 months in another concentration camp with no charges, was found dead with signs of starvation. There are way too many horrifying examples.
Wow. So you found dead with signs of starvation. This is what...
There are way too many to death. Earlier this year, a Palestinian teenager, after spending 6 months in another concentration camp with no charges, was found dead with signs of starvation. There are way too many horrifying examples to list, but I strongly recommend that you read the...
You see why this is Revelation 2:9?
In general, are horrifying places that shouldn't exist. But this is something else.
This is Revelation. This is Revelation 2:9-3:9. You understand what I'm saying? These people are not, honestly, yeah. And so we got to understand that. You get what I'm saying? You got to understand that. Now, IPAC, of course, like I said, most of your politicians, they have them in their back pocket. You got to know this. They have most of your politicians in their back pocket. Let me see if I can find the right information behind this. They have most of your politicians in their back pocket. We stand with those who stand with Israel. So, and even, of course, I believe Trump is on the list for individuals who have ties to IPAC. You know, they also have ties to that as well, right? My thing is a lot more information. Here we go. A lot more information in regards to this. A lot of these individuals, you can see how much they're getting paid.
Money talks, dirty cash, I want you, dirty.
I'm Tom Member, the House Majority Whip in the U.S. Congress, and I'm with my friend Pete Aquilar from the Democrats leadership. We're spending a little time here in Israel to show our support and to learn. And as we have talked about, this isn't about being a Republican or Democrat over here. This is about being an American and understand.
I'm the Democratic Caucus Chair, Pete Aguilar. I want to thank Majority Whip Tom Emmer for his leadership in bringing this delegation.
Steny Hoyer. I'm a congressman from Maryland and the former majority leader. In addition, I've been to Israel now 22 times.
Hi, everybody. This is Congressman Herbert Conway, representing New Jersey's 3rd Congressional District. I'm here at Kibbutz Marum Golan.
I am Representative Brad Schneider from the great state of Illinois. I'm speaking to you from Jerusalem at the residence of the Israeli president, Herzog, standing in front of a bust of the founder of Zionism.
Congresswoman Laura Gillen from New York's 4th Congressional District, and I'm here in Jerusalem today.
Of lawmakers from the United States met. We must never abandon our allies, ever.
I'm George Latimer from the 16th District in New York.
Hi, I am Congressman Joe Cisneros.
$14 million from IPAC. Your U.S. representatives.
California's 31st Congressional District.
Dirty cash, I want you, dirty cash, I need you. Money talks, dirty cash, I want you, dirty cash,
an attempt was made to change the law so that all expenses paid trips would be considered a bribe.
I drafted legislation to try to reform the whole profession of lobbying, to get rid of free travel and gifts from lobbyists.
Yeah.
The Honest Leadership and Open Government Act of 2007 significantly enhanced the travel restrictions that if you're an organization that employs a lobbyist, you can only provide a one-day trip for a member of Congress.
Then AIPAC exerted its influence.
There was a major loophole written into the travel restriction that was essentially engineered by AIPAC, and this loophole is widely known as the AIPAC loophole.
The clause excluded educational trips organized by a charity that didn't hire lobbyists. AIPAC happened to be affiliated to such a charity.
It doesn't have an office, it doesn't have any employees, it's just a tax form that they filed. Gifts of dinner, gifts of wonderful resorts to stay at, gifts of entertainment, all of which is packed up into one of these trips, is a very, very effective tool at influence peddling.
Wow. So of course they're using and I guess in abusing the tax. So a lot of your tax dollars probably going to a lot of these individuals who are just laying up and being bribed, you know, in order with expensive trips and stuff like that. You know, bribery is a huge thing as well. You got to understand, we're not living in the society you think we living in. And I think that's the whole point of this particular video, is to show you and prove you, like, listen, these people are literally, I mean, my thing is this, right? The thing behind all of this is not only is AIPAC and these Israelis, right? These these Zionist Jews, okay? These individuals who believe in being a PDF file. You understand what I'm saying? These individuals are setting up these plays. They setting up these plays, and you wonder why so many children are missing right now. Is for the simple fact that, you know, you got so many of these politicians, AIPAC individuals who are interested in small and that type of relations with minors. And so people that's in power, people that's in places of leadership and authority, listen, these people are actually absolutely involved in this. A lot of them are allowing this to go under the radar. That's the reason why they fought so hard to be sure that the Epstein files were never released. My thing is this, right? When Donald Trump, you know, concealed the Epstein files, that gave them an opportunity to not be revealed, right? Because there's so many different lobbyists and politicians, you know, all that, you know, state representatives that may be a part of that list, right? And so that's my thing, is that if you can be able to suppress the Epstein files, if you can suppress it and not get anything to come out, right, in regards to it, then guess what? You can effectively make protect or insulate the problem, protect and insulate the individuals who were a part of the problem. You get what I'm saying? And even now, it's like you can't really get too much information on the Epstein files, right? So you can't really get too much going on with the Epstein files.
You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phone.
And so with that being said, we already know that there's a cover up, that there's a hiding of information, okay? And it's too much revealing information that may be incriminating to Trump himself, right? As well as other individuals who may be associated with Trump, who may be you know, directly funding Trump. You know, he may be trying to protect those individuals, as well as I'm pretty sure there's a lot of lobbyists, a lot of Zionist Jews who represent AIPAC. You understand what I'm saying? Who will be a part of that. Joe Biden definitely going to be on this list. You understand what I'm saying? But this is some of the things that I wanted to shed light on here today. we got to know that this is the society that we're currently living in. We got to be careful. We got to tread lightly. We got to always pray and move in the light of the Messiah, move in the light of Yeshua. You understand what I'm saying? Continue to stay prayed up. Y'all let me know what y'all thoughts is in the comment section below. Did you know about IPAC before I introduced it to you here today? Were you familiar with them? Were you not familiar with them? Did you know that the CPS system also is another front for a trafficking ring for children? Were you familiar with that? You get what I'm saying? And how our intergovernmental system is working to sell, the children in this country, right? What extent were you familiar with this? And if this was helpful to you, please don't forget to like this video, comment and subscribe. All right. And on the way out, we're going to go ahead and play a quick commercial, man. If you guys have it in your heart and feel led to donate to the cause, listen, please do so. We are receiving donations as well. Me, myself, I do have a nonprofit called the Warsheep and Shepherd nonprofit, and which we are actually sponsoring a few GoFundMes, as well as we ourselves have our own GoFundMe that we wish to help others with and help build the communities with, whatever it may be that you may have an opportunity to donate to. If you have, in your heart, if you're feeling led to, you get what I'm saying, to donate, please do so. Let's go ahead. But please don't forget to like this video, comment and subscribe, and holler back at your boy. All right. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace and shalom, shalom.
When the weight feels heavy on my mind, I hear the drums, they call me from inside. Something pulls me toward the open floor, like a force I've never known before. And when my feet begin to move with time, all my troubles start to fade behind. When I move, everything flows away, like water washing through my face today. When I move, I find my way back home, no more feeling lost and all alone. More job, more rain, Abanuje, me too long. I me too late. Inu me dumba yo. Now my spirit's rising with the beat, finding freedom as my heart breaks free.